Hey babes, welcome to a brand new day filled with endless possibilities. I'm your girl, Nick Austin, and this is Co-Ro is a Crush, your go-to spot for all things self-love, empowerment, and living life to the fullest. Let's dive in and make today unforgettable. I want to start this episode by saying this. I am no longer who I was. Not on May 14th, not the day before my husband's grandmother Vergie died, not the version of me that stayed quiet, kept performing, and kept pouring with an empty cup. My husband's grandmother, Grandma Vergie as we called her, passed away on May 15th. She was my husband's grandmother by blood, but to me, she was just grandma. She treated me like I was her own, covered me in love, prayed over me, saw me in a way that not many people have. And when she left this earth, something broke wide open in me. She's gone, and I know it now, without shame, fear, without apology. This is going to be one of the most honest, layered episodes I've ever done. Because we're not just talking about grief. We're talking about the prompts that made me face myself. We're talking about the conversation I had with my husband that broke me wide open. We're going to talk about deliverance. The kind that you don't even know you need until God brings you to your knees and says, let it go, or it's going to kill you. So if you ever shrunk yourself to survive, felt invisible while being everything to everybody, or looked in the mirror and thought, I can't keep doing this, then this episode is for you. Today's topic is called She Laughed, and so did the version of me that kept shrinking. May 15th. We are in segment 1, the death that triggered my deliverance. May 15th. That date will forever sit in my chest. We lost Grandma Vergie, and this wasn't just my husband's grandmother. This was my grandmother. Again, she treated me like I was her own. She poured into me. She prayed over me. She saw me. And when she left, everything I had buried inside of me, everything I had carried quietly for years, came bubbling to the surface. Now, I've been to funerals before, and I've grieved, but this was different. Because this wasn't just about her leaving, this was about everything that surfaced when she left. Every ignored need, every repressed feeling, every time I showed up when I was sick, when I was exhausted, when I was unseen, it all came rushing to the front. I didn't just cry because we lost her. I cried because I had been carrying so much for so long, and I didn't even realize how broken down I really was. I lost my ability to pretend I was okay. Moving into segment 2, the prompts that broke me open. Y'all ever get to the point where your body starts rebelling? Where the headaches don't stop? Where the exhaustion isn't from a bad night's sleep, but it's from carrying too much for too many people for too long. That's where I was. Before she passed, I had already been feeling off. I couldn't explain it, but I knew I was tired, drained, snappy, sad for no reason, hollow even when I was doing what I love, which is creating self-love and faith-based products. And I started asking myself questions, trying to figure out what is going on. And they hit harder than I expected. I was asking myself, why do I feel unseen even when I'm surrounded by people? Why am I so angry but still so quiet about my needs? Why do I only feel worthy when I'm useful? Who told me that peace had to come after service? When was the last time I rested without guilt? For real, these are questions I was asking myself. And when I answered these questions, I had to admit something I never wanted to say out loud. That I am exhausted. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally. And I don't even know who to tell because I'm the one everybody leans on. You ever felt like that, y'all? My energy wasn't just low, it was gone. I wasn't just tired, I was spiritually bankrupt. And still, I kept showing up. I kept pouring. I kept saying, I am okay, when I wasn't even close. It was Grandma's passing that made me realize, Nick, if you don't get it together, if you don't stop now, your body will force you to. This wasn't another one of my burnouts. This wasn't another one of being overwhelmed. This was breakdown. A nervous breakdown. And somehow, in the middle of all of that, came breakthrough. Segment 3, the conversation I had with my husband. Now let's get into what happened before the funeral, which was May the 31st. On May the 30th, I was laying in the bed. I was watching Batman 1989, which is one of my favorite movies. And I am a member of Medium.com because I like writing. And this article came across my feed. And it basically said, I put this prompt in the chat GPT and it changed my life. So I read the article because I like reading articles, newspapers. I'm old school. I like reading stuff like that. So I put the prompt into ChatGPT and it was broken down into two. So I put in the first prompt. And with this, you couldn't just put in a prompt. Like if you are a first timer with ChatGPT, you can't use this prompt as of yet. It was more so of you have been utilizing ChatGPT for over a year or for a good 6 months at the most. And ChatGPT basically knows everything about you because you have been using it on a personal level or on a business level or both. In my case, I've been using it for both, personal as well as business. So over a year, because I think I'm coming up on 2 years of ChatGPT, so my ChatGPT basically knows me pretty well. I put this prompt in, and after I hit the button, enter or send, on my phone, it poured out all this information and I was like, oh my goodness. So I read it, studied it, understood what it said, and then the article said put in this second prompt, which is the follow-up prompt. And so I did put in the follow-up prompt, and I was like, well, I be darned. I could not believe it. Out of everything I have ever told ChatGPT, from my fears and everything, it basically fed me all the information about what is going on with me, what is wrong with me. It didn't do a diagnosis per se. It was more so of a revelation. That's how I looked at it. I looked at it as a revelation of everything I have been through in my life, everything that I'm going through in my marriage, my relationship with my kids, my friends, everything, even in my business as being a business owner, the relationship between myself and my customers, myself and my vendors. And I'm like, you know what? I was amazed, blown, but most importantly, I was stunned. Stunned because I knew this information before, but now to actually see it versus hearing it, it made the difference. And so I interpreted it my way. At first I felt like I was a fraud. And I even told my husband when he came through the door, babe, I feel like a fraud. And he was like, what do you mean? I feel like a fraud on everything. So I explained to him exactly what happened. And when I told him, he was like, okay, I need to see it because we're both visual. And so I was like, I want you to see it, but I don't want you to see it because at this moment I am embarrassed. And then I said, I can't be embarrassed because my husband is my best friend, yada, yada, yada. I got to share it with him because he is actually one of the issues. That was the hardest thing I had to admit to myself. Not saying that I haven't admitted it before, because I have, but it was more so of this is face to face and slapping me in the face, and I got to say it because I am sick and tired of holding in information. I got to tell him exactly what is on my mind. I got to express it because now I'm in this position where I want to make this change, not just for my business, but also for myself, because in order for me to become a better person and live in my truth and actually preach and minister to y'all exactly what it is you need to do in your life, I need to get my crap in order. So that's what I did. And I brought it all. I brought everything, all of it, to him on May the 30th, which was Friday night before the funeral. I was raw with it. I was unfiltered, and I was messy. I told him in a nutshell, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of being the one who keeps it together. I'm tired of being strong. I'm tired of talking and feeling like nobody is actually hearing me. I am drowning in silence. Now, my husband was sitting at my computer. He was working on the slideshow for Grandma Vergie. And he was in a wreck himself. And I poured all this information out on him. I even read to him what ChatGPT told me about myself. And his first response, y'all, he said to me, and I quote, "Neek, this ain't the time. My grandma just died. My mom just fell. I'm dealing with a lot," unquote. When those words came out of his mouth up to my ears, that broke me even more. I broke down in front of my husband. I yelled, I cried. All I could do was just scream into a towel. And the reason why I screamed into a towel was because, number one, it was after midnight, and number two, my son was asleep. I didn't want to wake him up, nor did I want to wake up the neighbors. Because it reminded me when he said that even when I cry, people still expect me to carry. I am still not being heard. And honestly, he didn't get it. And I told him, you just don't get it, but that's okay. He didn't get it. He said it was the wrong time, that he had too much on his mind, that I was putting too much on him. He said, I didn't do anything to you. And he really didn't. He didn't. But the point wasn't about the blame. It was about the burden of it all. I didn't need him to fix it. I needed him to hold space. I was coming to him to be witness. And when he couldn't do just that much for me, I collapsed. Not in anger, but in release. Because I realized I had made peace with being the last on my list. Even to the people who love me the most. My husband, my mom, my children. I was officially done. I made it up in my mind this was it, because it was too many times throughout my 41 years of being on this side of the earth that I have been hearing and seeing and witnessing this stuff, and just to read it on a device, it finally clicked. So when I told my husband about it, it didn't click. And I said to myself, okay, I'm being selfish. I even so much as apologized for what I said, for what I did. So I basically went right back into what I did. I actually went back and I apologized to my husband for so much as bringing it up while he was grieving over Grandma Vergie. And I still put myself last on the list. I messed up again. And in the back of my mind, I literally said to myself, I gave in again and I shouldn't. I gave in again and I shouldn't. But I progressed. We are now on segment 4, when God confirmed me through a funeral. So the very next day, we're at the funeral. And I'm sitting there, I'm quiet, still raw, still cracked open because I'm still thinking about what I read from ChatGPT the night before. And I created a program. My aunts asked me to design the program. I said, no problem, for your charge. This is my tribute. And I asked them 2 weeks ahead of time, am I singing or am I chilling? Basically, am I going to sing for Grandma Vergie or am I just going to be in the audience with everybody else? And one of my aunts said, no, you're chilling. And then my other aunt said, well, 2 weeks before Grandma Vergie passed, she asked for certain individuals to sing. You wasn't one. Okay, no problem. At first I was upset. So then we made a special part on the program for special reflections by the family, which means that the family members can come up and do what they do. And I said, okay, well, that will be my part where I will sing. So there was a place on the program where for me to sing, and I've done it 1,000 times, which I have. You already know this. My heart normally does this thing where when it's time for me to sing, it starts to flutter, starts racing with anticipation, with old conditioning, saying, get up, you always feel this space. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, my heart stopped racing. The urgency stopped. And in this place was peace. And I knew right then in that moment, I'm not singing. Not this time and not today. I didn't feel the nudge I normally would get. I literally felt peace. So I sat still. And on the program, First Lady was right behind the special reflection. So when she got up to sing, just like the program, just like we had on the program, I didn't interfere. I didn't jump in to save the silence. I just sat in the midst of it. And when my family members, my mother-in-law, my uncle, even my husband turned around and said, Nick, what happened? Why didn't you sing? I basically said, because I wasn't asked to sing. And y'all, that was a full body boundary. That was the funeral of my performance self. The Nick that sang to soothe the room, she's gone. The Nick that poured even when depleted, she gone. And right after that, Bishop got up and said, some of y'all keep draining the people who are always there for you. Hello, somebody. My husband turned to me, and when he turned to me, I knew right then he had it. So after the funeral was over, we was on our way to the interment. He said to me, now I get what you were trying to say. What can I do to support you in this moment? How can I help you get to the next level? You know what I told my husband? Listen. Just listen when I need to vent. No phones, no computer, no TV. Just listen. That was God confirming me. Not with lightning, not with thunder, but through a man finally hearing the truth I've been carrying in silence. God didn't need me to shout. He didn't need me to scream. He didn't need me to yell, cry no more, none of that. He sent me confirmation in public so I could stop explaining myself in private. And do you know what happened after that moment? I fell in love with my husband all over again. We are now at segment 5. Deliverance is unpretty, unfiltered, and unplanned. So what happened last week wasn't just a breakdown. It's what I call deliverance. From false responsibility, from silent suffering, deliverance from needing to be liked, needed, praised, or useful to feel whole. God snatched, and I mean he snatched the performance out of me. And it wasn't in church. It wasn't even on a mountaintop. It was in my grief, at a funeral, sitting in a pew, watching my husband finally understand me through someone else's words. Sometimes deliverance is ugly. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it even comes wrapped in grief, silence, in restraint. But it's still holy. You know what else surfaced? How much I spent my life being useful instead of being held. I kept looking around, asking myself, if I stop pouring, will anyone stay? If I stop smiling, will anyone still love me? If I stop being strong, will anyone hold me like Grandma Vergie did at times? And the answer I found in my spirit, maybe not. But God will, and that's more than enough. Grief didn't just strip me of everything, but it freed me from everything. Because now I know what love feels like when you don't have to earn it. Not through my business, not through my family, not through my friends. Because Grandma Vergie gave me all of that when she could. And God reaffirmed it when she left. Let me say this for the woman or the man listening that who always been the backbone. Strong is not the goal. Seen is. Held is. Heard is. Whole is. I don't want to be strong if it means suffering in silence. I don't want to be reliable if it means being invisible. And neither should you. It's okay if they say you're changing. You're supposed to. You're evolving, shedding, becoming. That doesn't make you mean. That makes you free. So, with all that being said, how do you feel? You feel good? I feel awesome. As a reminder, new episodes of Co-Grow is a Crush drop on the first and third Wednesdays of each month. And the Self-Love Sermons is now officially its own standalone show. That means every week on Mondays, I'm giving you 5 minutes of faith-filled real talk episodes you can stream anytime you need a reset. No fluff, no filter, just true fire and the reminder that you are exactly who God called you to be. So go ahead, search the Self-Love Sermons as well as Co-Grow is a Crush on Apple, Spotify, or Podbean and hit that subscribe button for both. Let's keep healing, growing, and getting free together. So I got some good news for y'all. We are moving up and about by serving and doing the Lord's work. Co-Grow and Company is now available in not just 2 locations, but we have now made it to 3 amazing locations here in the state of Virginia. Again, we're at the Williamsburg Bazaar in Williamsburg, Virginia, the Blake & Gray Company in Farmville, Virginia, and now we're inside of Gloria's Unique Handbags and Gifts Plus on the Eastern Shore. Discover my inspiring stationery, custom apparel, and self-love essentials in person. Check out my booths at the Williamsburg Bazaar at 5625 Richmond Road, Unit F120, Williamsburg, Virginia 23188. The Blake & Gray Company, 142 North Main Street, Farmville, Virginia 23901. And at Gloria's Unique Handbags and Gifts Plus, 36308 Lankford Highway, Belle, Belle, Haven, Virginia 23306. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while or receiving my newsletters, then you know I am a big fan of Flowdesk. Email marketing is the #1 way I protect my business growth. Unlike social media, I own my email list. If you haven't heard of Flowdesk before, it's a beautiful, intuitive email marketing tool that I use to consistently email my list. So if my favorite social platforms change or decide to disappear altogether, I can continue connecting with my audience. It empowers me to stop solely living at the mercy of an algorithm and ensure my messages reach my audience consistently. If you're ready to grow your email list, there's no better platform to use than Flowdesk. You can get 50% off your first year with my link. Go to corowandcompany.com/pages /welcome to access the link. And if you're loving this podcast, don't forget to check out what's new over at Coro & Company. Whether it's self-love journals, our latest merch drop, or digital resources for your glow up, everything is designed to help you grow with grace and boldness. The link is in the show notes. All right. I got a quick shout out to the businesses who support what I do. Sky Brew Coffee, located in Suffolk, Virginia. It is an iced latte heaven. All right. Follow them on IG at Sky Brew Coffee VA and catch them on June the 14th at the Cups and Claws Community Yard Sale. Also, shout out to Imperial Events LLC, always showing up with intention, beauty, and boss energy. Whether it's a wedding, birthday, or a full-on brand experience, they bring the style and the excellence. Tap the show notes to connect with Misty Bailey, the owner, or you can go to their website, imperialetiquette.com. Follow them on Facebook at Imperial Etiquette VA and on Instagram at Imperial Etiquette. And I do apologize, the business name is not called Imperial Events LLC, it's actually called Imperial Etiquette LLC. My bad, it happens. Support these businesses that pour back. Not just these, not just mine, but every small business that pour back into their people. And if you have a business or a product that aligns with the message of empowerment and purpose, I would love to feature you right here. Check the show notes to learn more about becoming a sponsor. All right. So we have got down close to the end of our episode, but let me reintroduce myself to you. I am Neek Austin. I love the Lord and being real at the same time. I love Japanese anime and manga. I love oddball things. I am a sports fanatic. I love silence. I love rest. I love traveling, reading, and sleeping. I love to sing. I love doing spontaneous adventures. I love choosing myself without guilt. I love saying no without a follow-up paragraph. I love being a business owner. I love serving my people. I don't owe anyone a performance. I don't need to be in every room to feel worthy. I don't serve from emptiness anymore. I'm not just back on social media. I'm not just making products. I'm not just podcasting. I'm not just serving. I'm not just servicing. I'm showing up from alignment, from truth, from overflow. And from here on out, let me say this real clear so you can get it. I will not be available to people who only clap when I'm giving. I will not shrink to be digestible. I will not apologize for boundaries that save my health. I will not keep singing when I'm suffocating. I am no longer available for being the fixer, being the filler, being the dependable one who never gets held. I'm not asking to be invited anymore to anything or to anyone. I'm not performing for love or attention. I'm not proving my worth through exhaustion. This is me. Fully, finally free. And I love this version of me who doesn't shrink anymore. I'm building a brand that reflects my rebirth, not my burnout. And if that's what you've been craving too, then you already know. We family now. Oh man, let us pray. God, for the one who's listening, who's been shrinking to survive, I lift them up. For the person who stopped asking for help because they got tired of being let down. For the one who always shows up, always gives, always sings, even when they're empty. I pray you show them that silence is sacred, that they can stop performing and still be worthy, that their voice matters even when it shakes. Surround them with people who see them. Call them into rooms that don't ask them to shrink. And remind them that the healed version of them, they are allowed to rise without asking permission. Cover us in your grace. Help us remember that we are not too much. We've been too quiet for too long. Release us from survival roles. Rescue us from false responsibilities. Remind us that we are safe, seen, and sacred, even when we're not doing anything at all. Let us stop performing. Let us stop begging. Let us rise fully, finally, freely. I thank you, Lord, for Grandma Vergie, for every moment she saw me, held me, covered me in love. And I thank you for every listener who's grieving right now. Not just people, but versions of themselves they're finally letting go of. Give them peace that passes understanding, Father. Give them silence that soothes. Give them truth that sets them free, even if it's painful at first. Let them know they don't have to earn love. They don't have to perform to be kept. They don't have to break down to finally be heard. God, restore them the way you restored me. Through grief, through silence, through the slow and steady rebirth of becoming. In Jesus' name, amen. If this episode hit your spirit, if you ever held it all together while falling apart, if you ever loved someone who gave you permission to rest, share this episode. I want you to do two things for me. Number one, text this episode to the strongest person you know. Number two, post this episode and tag me at Co-Rowing Company with the words, "This was my funeral. This is my rebirth." Want to support the show? Head over to Buy Me a Coffee to donate, grab some podcast merch, or become a fan for exclusive content. Shout out again to our sponsors, Imperial Etiquette LLC and Sky Brew Coffee, for keeping us caffeinated and celebrated. Check the show notes to support these dope women-led businesses. And if you got topics you want me to dive into, questions you need answered on the show, or just want to say hi, don't hesitate to reach out. Send me a DM on Instagram at Co-Rowing Company. Email me at corowcrushpodcast@gmail.com or leave me a voicemail. Go to my website, corowingcompany.com, click the tab podcast, click on Co-Row is a Crush, scroll to the bottom of the page, and click on send me a voice message. I would love to hear from you. All the links are in the show notes, so check it out and let's keep this thing going. This is Co-Row is a Crush, and I'm Neek Austin, CEO of Co-Row & Company. This is me, no longer performing, no longer apologizing, no longer waiting. Grandma Vergie left this world, and so did the version of me that stayed silent to keep the peace. With that being said, I want you to gain knowledge, take care of yourself, go out and be great. Peace and be blessed.